Okay, so the requirements for the honors are we need to complete the creationism, geology, and the fossils honor. I hope many of you already did the creationism. We need to explain some terms. We are going to go in depth in just in a few minutes. Then we need to find what is the origin of man and who were the cavemen from the creationist perspective, basically from what the Bible says. We need to briefly describe the argument of the watchmaker from Paley. Then we need to write a report on Blaise Pascal experience and explain why life only comes from life. We need to discover aspects of the creative power of God in nature that demonstrate purpose and planning. We need to see the difference between evolution and adaptation. They are two different terms, but unfortunately, so many times it's a confusion uh, on between the two. We need to reread the biblical story of the flood, and we need to describe its influence on the continental drift, uh, relief and climate, and mass extinction and formation of the fossils. We need to make a personal list of 10 scientific evidences of creation. We need to study the life and contributions of a scientific creationist and tell the story during a campfire or another spiritual gathering. I really like this one because many of the atheists doesn't have a clue that Isaac Newton, for example, it was one of the greatest Christians we had. And then we have an activity. So as we said, we start with the first one, and we need to have already completed the three honors we have on the screen: creationism, geology, and the fossils, in order to get the creationism advanced honor.
I've just put the links for the original creationism on the chat in the chats. Okay.
Thank you. Now, we need to explain the following terms. We need to understand what cosmology is, what cosmogenesis is, what do we mean by intelligent design, what is the transition of species or the last current link, what is a living fossil, and what actually the Big Bang Theory says. Okay, and we are going to start with the first one. So guys, don't bother writing now. You will find the presentation and the video. They are going to be online. We require loads of time for this honor, so I am just going to fly through the things. If you have questions, we have a short video to watch as well, and I really want us to see that video. So if you have questions, I prefer to have a few 5 extra minutes, if it's possible, for the questions, if that is possible. So what the cosmology is: cosmology is the scientific study of the large-scale properties of the universe as a whole. It endeavors to use the scientific method to understand the origin, evolution, and ultimate fate of the entire universe. So basically, where the universe is coming from and where is heading to. Involves the formation of theories or hypotheses about the universe, which make specific predictions for phenomena that can be tested with observations. Basically, what is trying to say that looking carefully on the universe, we should predict, by observing, we should predict what happened or what is going to happen. And depending on the outcome of the observations, the theories will need to be abandoned, revised, or extended to accommodate the data. Basically, we have to revise all the data we have, all the observations we have from time to time, and to decide if one theory stands or not after we carefully observe that theory. Cosmogenesis. We already know the word Genesis. We found it in the Bible, and it means beginning. So basically, cosmogenesis is the origin or evolution of the universe. So the main question is trying to answer, how did the universe began? Genesis is beginning. So how it began? Now, the intelligent design theory. The intelligent design theory is a set of beliefs based on the notion that life on Earth is so complex that it cannot be explained by the scientific theory of evolution, and therefore must have been designed by a supernatural entity. So instead of saying God created the Earth, the scientific people, they want to say that there is a supernatural entity which is not God. By the way, this is what some of them claim. But basically, it's trying to say that the theory of evolution as it is doesn't stand up, because the creation of God is too complicated to appear from nothing, just to come up like this. Refers to a scientific research program, as well as a community of scientists, philosophers, and other scholars who seek evidence of design in nature. The theory of intelligent design holds that certain features of the universe and of living things are best explained by an intelligent cause, not an undirected process such as natural selection. If you don't know what natural selection is, I will use this example because it's easier to understand, it's a pity that we have to use it. Look of the COVID-19 situation. So this is basically natural selection, the strongest live. If you have a stronger immune system and if you are young, you live. If you are not stronger, if you don't have a stronger immunity system, you will die. This is natural selection from the evolution perspective. Now, transition of species, or the lost current link. A transitional form is a species that is intermediate between two different species. For example, let's say the evolution says that our ancestors are monkeys, and the missing link, it would be whatever it was between the monkeys and us. That would be a missing link or a transition species. Living fossil, it's an organism such a horseshoe crab or a jingo tree that has remained essentially unchanged from earlier geological times and whose close relatives are usually extinct. Basically, let's say my age is, I'm 2 million years old, and I never changed. I am the same person. All the relatives or my aunt, sister, and everybody died, so it's just myself, and I never changed. This is a living fossil. And the Big Bang theory, which is, by the way, it's just a theory. The universe, as we know, it started with an infinitely hot, infinitely dense singularity, then inflated over the next 13 billion years to the cosmos that we know today. So basically, in the beginning, it was a dot, and somehow that dot exploded, and from that dot, all the life came. Everything we know of was an infinitesimally small singularity, a point of infinite denseness and infinite heat. Then explosive expansion began, ballooning our universe outwards faster than the speed of life. I'm so sorry. Every time when I get in this subject, I'm getting very nervous because I find these stories, I find too much imagination in those stories. I can't handle my spirit. Okay, now let's go to our third requirement, which says, from in the creationist interpretation, what is the origin of man? Basically, where are we coming from? And obviously, we have our answer in Genesis, chapter 1, verse 27, who says, so God created man, created you and me in his own image. In the image of God, he created him, male and female. He created them. So the statement, it's very clear, God created us. And if we want to go a little bit more in details, Genesis chapter 2, verse 7 says, and the Lord God formed man of the dust of the ground and breathed into his nostrils the breath of life, and man became a living being. Um, you know, when you will grow up, you're going to study philosophy, and the philosophy um, is trying to answer this question: what is man? Where the man is coming from? Where the man is going to? We have all those answers in the Bible, guys. It's no way to get confused. Just on the chapter 2, verse 7, I just want to make a remark. So this is for you as an activity. Ask your mom and dad to wear, both of them, to wear a white shirt during the day. Both of them. Ask them to wear white shirt during the day. And then in the evening, check how their shirt looks around the neck, and you'll see a difference. And that difference will make you guys understand a thing. I'm not going to tell you what, just check it for yourself. This is an experiment. So ask your mom and dad to wear a shirt, white shirt, and then when they come back in the evening, check how their shirt looks like on the neck. And after that, go in the Bible and check how the man was created and how the woman was created, and then you'll understand something. It's very, very, very interesting. Okay. And who were the cavemen? They were loads of drawings found in the caves, and the scientists are claiming they were thousands and billions of years old, but the reality is simple. We see that people used to live in the caves in different times. For example, in Genesis, when Lot and his daughters were running from the destruction of the Sodom and Gomorrah, they asked the Lord if they could instead live among those in the caves. So the Bible says that they were, basically what we can understand from this verse is, at that time were people who used to live in the cave. As we are painting our walls in the house, they were painting their walls. because they used to live in the cave. So here we go. And another verse, also in Judges, chapter 6, due to the continuous attacks from surrounding nations, the Israelites were forced to live in the caves. Um, so people used to live in the caves, and if you have people living in the caves, it's normal to find things which belonged to them. The only problem is when you date them wrongly. And we did learn about dating in the previous presentation. Requirement number 4, briefly describe the argument of the watchmaker from Paley. I'm not going to go through this argument, but you have the link where to read and where to get the information from. The presentation, if it's not available yet, is going to be made available on the British Union website. So you just have to press the link, read the article, and then just describe on your own words what is Paley's argument. Okay. Then we need to, we go to the requirement number 5, which is a nice one, because you have the chance to read more about Blaise Pascal. He was a great physician and mathematician and an inventor, but he also was a great Christian. So I don't have the link for him. You can find it if you type in Google Blaise Pascal bibliography. You will find a few good articles about him, and then check in what context he said life only comes from life. So life only comes from life. After you read and after you find the information, write a short report on what you found about him. It's very interesting to see that many of the well-known scientists were Christians. I'm going to mention something about Isaac Newton. You all heard about him when we get to him. Now, requirement number 6, read Psalm 139 and Genesis chapter 1 and chapter 2, and discover aspects of the creative power of God in nature that demonstrates purpose and planning. Demonstrate your finding through one of the following. So basically what you need to do, you need to read the Psalm 139 and the Genesis chapter 1 and 2 and find basically the intelligent design, God's plan behind the creation. He doesn't do things like that. All the things he does have a purpose. If you look carefully in nature, you'll find that purpose in all the things. The birds will do a job, the animals will do a job, different animals will clean, other animals will hunt. So everything has a purpose. What is done with a purpose. It can't be from without a purpose or without, I don't know, without a meaning. So you have to find that by reading the Psalm 139 and the first two chapters from Genesis. And we go to point number 7, our requirement number 7, which is creating huge confusion. Huge confusion. And we need to see the difference between and adaptation. Evolution um, according to the I have a lapsus now, I can't remember. According to the dictionary, refers to the changes in the proportions of biological types in a population over time. So basically, if it's a change, the change is made over a long period of time. And the adaptation is the physical or behavioral characteristic of an organism that helps an organism to survive better in the surrounding environment. For example, an adaptation will be if you go, if you are from England or from Ireland, where the sun is not as great with us, and you go to Spain, you'll change your color if you expose your body to the sun. That will be adaptation. Your body is adapting to the climate. While evolution, it refers to that change to remain over a long period of time or something like that. Okay, so I knew about this video, I've seen it a long time ago. Maybe you have friends, or if you have relatives which claim God doesn't exist, or the evolution theory is correct. We are going to watch only 5 minutes of the video, but on the end of the presentation, you have a link where you can watch the full video. I recommend you to watch it because it is important information in the video, in the sense that when you start to ask the proper questions, you will see with your own eyes the confusion. So I hope you are going to enjoy it.
You're an atheist?
I am definitely an atheist, yes.
Now, why are you an atheist?
Okay.
Why am I an atheist? Because there is no God.
Atheism assumes that you can disprove the existence of a God. Agnostic is a correct term.
Atheist?
Yeah.
I am an atheist, yeah.
I am, yeah. Yes.
I am.
So you're not an atheist? Ways of evolution.
I don't even lives in the
You believe in evolution?
Of course I do, yes.
It can turn dinosaurs into birds, apes into humans, and animals.
What Darwin showed in his work on evolution and natural selection life through.
I think it's...
Do you think it's a belief?
No, it's science.
It's the way it happened.
It's logical.
You know, all the scientists pretty much agree with it.
It's more of a fact.
When did you start to believe?
When I started to think for myself.
When did you start believing?
I took my first biology class.
It all started to make a lot of sense. The teacher made it very, very easy to understand.
I generally trust the scientific community. It makes more sense than any religion or anything.
I found all the cavemen, the Homo sapiens, dinosaurs. It shows clear evidence.
I believe in science.
What's your major here at this university?
Biology.
Your biology major?
Yeah.
You believe in evolution?
Yes.
What's your major?
Geology.
Chemistry?
Biochemistry.
Environmental science and policy.
I'm a physicist. Biochemistry.
Hey, do you believe in evolution?
Yes, I do.
Do you believe in evolution?
Yes, I do. Of course.
Yes, I do.
I do believe in evolution.
You believe in evolution?
Yes.
Are you a strong believer?
Yes.
Are you a strong believer?
Yep. Yes.
Yes.
Absolutely.
A scientific method is based on the collection of data through observation and experimentation. Science Daily.
Could you give me some observable evidence that evolution is true? Something I don't have to receive by faith.
Yeah.
Some observable evidence.
I mean, take a look at what happened 65 million years ago.
Hang on, I can't. That's 65 million years ago.
I believe, yeah, millions of years.
So that can't be observed.
We can trace the evolution through the fossil record.
Could you be specific? Just give me one.
Between 6 and 7 million years ago.
Hundreds of thousands to millions of years?
So it's quite a long time.
Yes.
Millions of years.
Yes.
So it can't be observed.
Evolution is not testable over time.
We are condemned to live only for a few decades, and that's too slow, too small a time scale to see evolution going on. Richard Dawkins. We see nothing of these slow changes in progress until the hand of time has marked the lapse of ages. Charles Darwin.
You've got the canine kind, the coyote, and the domestic dog, and there's the feline kind, which is the cats, the tiger and the kitten, and you've got humankind. So Darwin said there'd be a change of kind of many years. So could you give me one example of observable evidence of a change of kinds?
So, for instance, the fossil record shows the common ancestors of all carnivores, that cats and dogs were once linked, once united by a common ancestor.
How long ago?
This, I believe, was like 60 million years ago.
I don't want something I have to accept by faith. I want it to be observable.
Observable evidence. Well, I mean, if you're just asking me here on the street, there's not really much I can tell you in terms of observable evidence. Like, we would have to really examine existing data to draw conclusions of our own.
I would have to have faith then.
We would have to have some amount of faith.
Can you think of any observable evidence for Darwinian evolution where he said there'd be a change of kinds?
Monkey to man, is that what you're talking about?
Yeah, a change of kinds.
I don't really believe there's any proof for that yet.
Well, monkeys are the only ones with the 5th digit, like we have.
Well, koalas have a 5th digit. Did you know that?
I didn't know that.
Think we're evolved from koalas?
No.
When I went to Washington, D.C., I saw they had a whole exhibit just on the...
In the Smithsonian?
Yeah, in the
Oh,
Smithsonian.
wait, so that is just like some stuffed dummies, like standing around a fire.
I know that everyone talks about the missing link for humans and whatnot. I believe that there are connections that are out there that we haven't found yet.
I'm going to trust what those experts did. Those experts came up with.
I have a strong trust in evolutionary ideas based on the evidence presented.
Can you think of any observable evidence for Darwinian evolution, a change of kinds?
I haven't seen it myself, but I believe what the textbooks tell me about it, so...
You've got faith in the expert?
I have faith in the experts, yeah. I guess similar to how religious people have faith that God actually exists, I have faith in the experts knowing what they're talking about.
The scientific method must be observable and repeatable. So could you give me one piece of observable evidence for Darwinian evolution?
Okay, I would point to, as one great example, is look at the genetics of the stickleback.
What's that?
So stickleback fish are a very interesting collection of species that were recently isolated after the end of the Ice Age.
What do they become?
They're various species of sticklebacks.
They stayed as fish?
Well, of course.
Can you think of any observable evidence where there was a change of kinds?
Fish. Human beings are still fish.
Human beings are fish?
Hy, yes, of course they are.
How long did that take?
A couple of billions of years, millions.
A couple of millions? How is that observable?
It's not.
We came out of the ground mammal, and one mammal created...
Come out of the ground? Didn't we come out of the sea?
Huh? Well, initially in the beginning, we came out of the ground and the sea after the great destruction of the...
So do we have lungs or gills when we came out of the sea?
You want to know something? Those that were in the sea, I guess, had gills, and those that were on land had lungs.
But if we came out of the sea, we had gills in the sea.
You want to know something? Who knows that we came out of the sea or we evolved from mammals?
So you don't know?
Huh? Of course I don't know.
I'm accepting that they did their science correctly.
Could you give me an example of Darwinian evolution, not adaptation or speciation, but a change of kinds?
These are changes of kinds.
They're still fish.
They're distinctly different fish.
We have thousands of examples.
Can you give me one?
I can give you thousands.
Just one.
For instance, I would say look at Lenski's experiments with bacteria then.
So what do the bacteria become?
The bacteria are still bacteria, of course.
So that's not Darwinian evolution. That's not a change of kinds, is it?
It is a change. It is a change in the genetic makeup of the bacteria, which is
still bacteria. So what do the bacteria become?
A new kind of bacterium.
So it's still bacteria. There's no change of kinds. To summarize, the observable evidence that you give me for Darwinian evolution is bacteria, becoming bacteria.
No, it is bacteria acquiring new metabolic capabilities.
You said before that there is lots of evidence for evolution. I just want one observable evidence for Darwinian evolution, just one.
But I gave you some. You don't want...
Not some, I want one.
Wait, you don't want that.
I want one. Yes, I do. I'm pleading with people.
You asked me to tell you, when I've watched one species evolve into another. Isn't that right?
No, one kind into another. There's 14 different definitions of species. So I want a change of kind.
When you're talking about kinds or change in families, you're actually talking about macroevolution. You're talking about changes on the level that separate, say, cats from dogs.
So could you give me any examples of Darwinian evolution?
Well, when you say examples of that, then you have to sort of look at over a longer time frame.
It has nothing to do with faith. Faith is something that I have to, unseen, I have to believe in.
That's it, unseen. Look, do you believe evolution?
Of course I do.
Are you a believer in evolution?
Yes, I am.
When did you start to believe evolution?
I started to believe evolution when I started to think out for myself.
Is evolution a belief?
Well, you know something, evolution is a thought process. Is coming to terms and checking out all the alternatives, like taking a look at the religion, man-made religions.
Let me ask you again: is evolution a belief?
No, evolution is, well, yeah. In a word, yeah, I could say it could be a belief.
Okay, so actually the video goes. It's even more interesting after where I stopped it. But the main reason I stop it here is just for you guys to understand it's no scientific proof whatsoever behind the evolution. Actually, you need more faith to believe that you went out of nothing than to believe that God created you. Please watch it to the end. As I said, it's valuable information in it, and you'll find out the actual reason behind the theory. Now, leaving that aside, we go to the biblical story of the flood, which is our requirement number 8. And we need to reread the biblical story of the flood and to describe its influence on the following questions. So basically, after the flood, we believe that there was big change on Earth as we know it. The continental drift is connected with the separation of the continents. So basically, we think that before the flood, God created, it was the water and the land as a whole. And after the flood, because of the mass destruction, all the continents drift apart. We believe that it was a big change in climate. You can see that only if you look at how many years were people living before the flood and what's the living rate after the flood. Even if the scene came to Earth before flood, people used to live 800-900 years. After the flood, we can see that 120 is the highest age we can get. And then the mass extinction and the formation of fossils. Even in the previous presentation, we had that. You will find, I don't know, whales and horses, and you'll find, let's say you find birds, sea animals, and land animals all together. So this can be only after a big event, a big disaster. And we believe as Christians that all of those are caused by the flood. So read the story again, and describe in a few words how do you think that all the three options here were changing the life on Earth? And then we move to requirement number 9. And this is again self-studying requirement. Make a personal list of 10 scientific evidences of creation, different from those stated in this honor and in the basic, and present them to a group. So you will ask maybe yourself where to look for the evidence. It's only one place where we can find an example of where to look, and that comes from Romans chapter 1. And if you read Romans chapter 1, the full chapter, you will find out why the evolutionists pretend that there is no God. Read it for yourself. I just took only passage from the verse 18 to the 24. If you start with the verse 18 and read to the end of the chapter, you'll find out why. So the verse 18 says, "For the wrath of God is revealed from heaven against all ungodliness and unrighteousness of men who suppress the truth in unrighteousness. Because what may be known of God is manifest in them, for God has shown it to them." So if you have to look for somewhere from the evidence, look in you. Look how God created you, and you'll find the evidence of his creation. Look on the trees. Take a flower, see how beautiful it is. Run after a butterfly and see how special he is. For since the creation of the world, his invisible attributes are clearly seen, being understood by the things that are made, even his eternal power and Godhead, so that they are without excuse. So there is no excuse to say there is no God. When you look carefully around you, you can't say there is no God. Because although they knew God, they did not glorify him as God, nor were thankful, but became futile in their thoughts, and their foolish hearts were darkened. Professing to be wise, they become fools, and changed the glory of the incorruptible God to an image made like corruptible man, and birds, and four-footed animals, and creeping things. So it's very simple. Instead of believing in God, people are more tempted to believe in people, to believe in, I don't know, making all kind of idols. So that's the reason why evolution came to life as a theory. It's because people don't want to listen to God. But for the purpose of the requirement number 9, just look around you, go in nature, go in forest, look in the water. The things are so perfectly done. They have to have an intelligent design. Somebody had to make them. And you'll find all the evidence you're looking for. Requirement number 10, 2 more requirements and we're done. Requirement number 10 asks us to study the life and contributions of a scientific creationist. So basically what you have to do, you need to study the life and the contributions of a scientific creationist and tell the story during a campfire or another spiritual gathering. Here you have a list of, if you press this link, you'll have a list of well-known scientists who were Christians. I'm going to tell you a few things about Isaac Newton. You all know him. He actually did what none of us is doing. He's coming from a poor family. He was the only one who made money. All his money, he used to share them with his family and with the poor. Actually, he tried to understand revelation. He was not successful because his starting point was wrong. So you won't find in school teachers speaking about this side of Isaac Newton or Blaise Pascal, for example, or any other ones, because we live, unfortunately, in a different era. So visit that link, choose one of the many scientists. It can be anyone, and
also, Bogdan, it said present it in a gathering or around a campfire, but I know some people are not meeting at the moment. They're not able to meet. So I think maybe could they do it over a Zoom call or even video themselves, doing it like a mini presentation if they wanted to. I think that would be okay, wouldn't it?
Yeah, or even in a I don't know, in a club meeting, because guys, not many people are interested in the subject, and you will be the advocates in this way to your club to prepare a subject like this. Of course, when we talk about evolution and creationism, the talks can go forever because many will come with arguments, but on the end of the day, keep it simple. There is no evidence, and that's it. You need to believe it as we believe in God. It needs faith. There are no facts. And the last one, the last requirement we have for this honor is to do one of the following activities. So basically, you can choose which one. I would say because of the situation with the COVID-19, with the restrictions and everything, just find the one which is easiest for you to do. Participate in an activity debate about creationism versus evolution. I was already stating that in the last presentation. For our Pathfinders in America, it will be much easier to be done because those debates are more common in USA. I don't know about England. I never heard about a debate in Ireland whatsoever. You even can't say anything. If you say something, have to be very careful on what words you're choosing, because it's no democracy anymore. B, you need to present to a group at the church or at the creationist event an audiovisual presentation of at least 30 minutes about some of the evidence from the 9 requirements for this honor. I would say this would be more approachable. You can do it in a Sabbath school, you can do it in a church meeting. You just need to prepare for it. Then the third option will be to present 3 different certificates of participation in meetings of creationist character completed in the last 2 years. Again, I don't know how common is this in UK or Ireland. It's definitely common in America. So the fourth one will be to organize an event about creationism with a skilled and qualified speaker. That would be nice. You to be the first who will organize a creationism event. Yeah. And the last one, it would be to do a research on creation based on Geoscience Research Institute findings or documents. I would say the last one will be approachable as well. So here you go, you can choose from one of the 5 options you have and then present the worksheet with all the requirements completed to your club director. So we have a few minutes left if you have questions or if you have anything to ask or to add. Here is the time. Now is the time to do it.
Okay, if anybody has any questions, please go ahead and type it into the chat if you'd like to. And Bogdan will have some time to answer that for you. I know Selvin's been very active on the chat in the Zoom room, explaining further about evolution as well. But I know you mentioned a lot of the scientists back in the day, like Isaac Newton. It was very interesting that they investigated all of this, not to disprove anything, but actually to get to know their God better. It was based, all their experimentation and that was based on their faith, and it was just in order to understand the nature that God had created. So that's a quite I like the angle that they're coming at from there. I think we do well to remember that.
Looking today for the information today and yesterday and the day before to gather all the information for the honor. And actually in the video I've presented, but you have to wait and you have to watch it to the end. You will see that even the poster used by the atheists with well-known scientists, it's actually a lie, because they are using names who never said they're atheists. Actually, they always said they believe in God. So it's the only thing done here is to confuse us and to drive us away from God. That's the only reason of the evolution. I seen Sunny typing in some important components of evolution. Yeah, Sunny, you're right. There are different types of evolution. If you add all the scientists together, they can't agree on which one is the real one, because the chemical evolution is not the same as the cosmical evolution, and they are totally different. So which one is the true one? From which one the life came in, they can't answer.
There's a comment here from, it's not a question, it's a comment though. I'm not sure if it's Sol, Sophia or Wendy who's typed it in, but she said, thank you so much for these honors. The week after taking the Creationism honor, that was the one you presented a few weeks ago, they needed to present an assignment about whether they believed in evolution or the fact that the world was created by God. So well done you for presenting that, because you were partway towards your completing your honor. But yes, thank you. It's Sol in 9th grade. So well done, because it's not an easy thing to do, but I think this is where our faith shines through. And thank you, Bogdan, for presenting both of these awards for us, and all the work and the research that's gone into it.
It's unfortunate to say that if you look for creation information, it's very, very hard to find it, because for various reasons it was taken out. Even YouTube videos, I knew a few good YouTube videos and documentaries. I couldn't find them anymore about creation, how the animals came in. Like, there are some, if you guys check the previous presentation, you'll find some videos. They are not the same I watched, but they're good. And it explains some of the animal's body. And it's no way for them to come from nothing, like the giraffe. You'll find the giraffe will have sensors for heart and for blood because of the long neck. When the giraffe will try to eat the grass, like the blood will flood the brain and it will die. But God put there a sensor. So when a giraffe tries to eat the grass, a valve stops the circulation so that she won't die. Those things cannot come from nowhere. It's somebody really intelligent had to put them there, and that's not evolution. The only entity who can do that is God, and that's it. And if you look at you, or if you go in a mirror, and if you look at yourself in a mirror, how complex you are, it's no way for you to come out from a fish, how the university teacher said, or from a monkey, how other people believe. It's no way. We come from only one place, and that place is from God, and we are going in only one place, and that place is heaven, and that's it. Okay, guys. Thank you very much for being here. This is a subject which is, like I said, it's like Paul when he went to Greece, and when he saw all the idols, he got nervous. I'm the same when it comes to evolution, because I strongly believe, I studied psychology, I've studied philosophy. I was one of the best students in philosophy. So the only answer to who am I, where I'm coming from, and where I'm going to, it comes from the Bible. Nowhere else. You won't find that answer nowhere else, only in the Bible. May God help you to understand that, and may God help you help others to understand that, and come out from the confusion. God bless you.